The Holy Gospel according to Mark. On that day, when evening had come, he said to them, "Let us go across to the other side." And leaving the crowd behind, they took him with them in the boat, just as he was. Other boats were with him. A great windstorm arose, and the waves beat into the boat, so that the boat was already being swamped. But he was in the stern, asleep on the cushion. And they woke him up and said to him, "Teacher, do you not care that we are perishing?" He woke up and rebuked the wind and said to the sea, "Peace, be still." Then the wind ceased, and there was a dead calm. He said to them, "Why are you so afraid? Have you still no faith?" And they were filled with great awe and said to one another, "Who then is this, that even the winds and the seas obey him?" This is the gospel of our Lord.
Praise to you, O Christ.
You may be seated. Holy God, open wide our hearts so that we might receive what you have for us this day. Speak to us tenderly and with your great compassion. Amen. So I'm a fan of Disney movies. I can't help but watch them from time to time. Have any of you seen the movie Moana? Yes? Awesome. It's one of those movies that just, as soon as I saw it, the song has been caught in my head in a loop, and I've been singing it all weekend long. So if you haven't seen it, you got to get out there and see it. It's a fun and it's a wonderful story. But it follows the story of a Polynesian girl. She's the daughter of a village chief, and everyone is happy on their little island. And yet, Moana feels this little tug, this little call to be out on the water. But the trouble is, her people, under no circumstances whatsoever, will travel beyond the reef to go to other islands. The waters are just too dangerous, and the boats that they have are too small. They can't get over the large waves beyond the reef. So Moana, who loves her people very dearly, just tries her best to be happy. She tries to stay. Okay, and now for those of you who hate spoilers, I'm about to spoil something. So cover your ears, mute your radio, live stream, whatever you're tuning in on. But she discovers that her people are actually descended from voyagers. They used to travel all over to many different islands. And not only that, but even her own father, the same one who forbade that she tried to even cross the ocean, had felt this tug in this pull before himself. And unfortunately, he had tried with the little boats to get over the reef himself with his friend, and his friend actually died trying to cross the waves. But even so, knowing the dangers that she knows, Moana ends up borrowing one of these big boats that she finds so that she can get over this reef and cross the waters, because this call that she's feeling is too important, too big to ignore. Now, I'm leaving a lot out here. Those of you that know Moana know I'm leaving a lot out here, but it's a Disney movie, so you know that there's trouble afoot and there are people to save. But because Moana does this, because she gets out there on the water, she ends up saving her people and the world. The gift of her open heart was truly the first step in immense change for her and for her people. And I wonder if her openness of heart is what Paul writes about in this scripture that we read in 2 Corinthians just now. This kind of persistent love and tenderness that endures when you are constantly beat down, shut out, called names, and punished for doing good. Now, what Paul asks us to do, to open wide our hearts, doesn't sound so easy when it's put in these terms. or desirable if we're being honest. Because who wants to be down and out? Who among us wants to remain tender and open to a world that has this potential of causing us harm? I think the world is filled with open-hearted people and hard-hearted people. And I'm not convinced that there's a great separation between the two, like one person is stronger and the other person is weak. Or I'm not even convinced that one person can be completely open-hearted and another can be completely closed off. Because even Moana and her father have both openness and closedness within their own stories. People can't be put into these binaries so easily. So what is it that makes the difference? What really makes Moana something, her heart open, more open than sealed off? And I think for Moana, for her, the difference was knowing her identity and, by extension, the identity of her people. She knew that she descended from voyagers. She trusted the call, the voice coming out from the ocean, because she knew what had come before her. She knew it was part of her story and her going forward. I'm sure you know the saying, you don't know where you're going until you know where you've been, right? Well, Moana embodies that. She doesn't get going out on the water, scared though she is, knowing that her people have died trying, until she knows where her people have been, until she knows her identity. Now, not so long ago, I felt a call. I felt a voice beckoning me, not from the ocean, but from God, to go to seminary. And to be honest, I just was very confused about it. Why me? Why this moment? And to what end? Where am I going? And I was starting to feel pretty Lutheran. I had been worshiping with a Lutheran church for a few years, and my heart was just hard. My friends would invite me to their own worship events at their Lutheran churches, and I would respond, well, I think I closed the door on the church a long time ago. I don't want to be involved. Because why would God lead me back to this place that I had walked away from? And even when I had the chance to be confirmed as an 8th grader, I actually chose not to go through it because that's how strongly I felt. I remember telling my parents, the Lutheran church is like a seed that falls on rocky soil, and I just can't grow here. But look where I am at today. God certainly has a sense of humor. And I'm happy to say that now I am approved and ready for ordination due to your good work and the work of others that have poured their love and care into me. But I did not grant myself this heart. God made something happen. God made my heart open and tender. And I can remember at least one significant moment in my life where I had embraced the call that was set before me. I was sitting in a Lutheran class, my first year of seminary, and I was learning about our church's history, the Lutheran church's history here in America, and I was trying to figure out where I was going because of where I had been, where the church had been. And I thought to myself, these people keep finding themselves between life and death, between order and chaos all the time. And yet, they are always somehow being made new, even as they remain centered in God. I think I can hang with people like that. And with that, I dipped my toes into the water. But there was no happily ever after. I still remember those days when I had no idea how to put on my alb, this white robe that I'm wearing. There's lots of Velcro parts. And I have been changed. I have been changed just like Moana's journey had changed her. I've been completely changed, and I will keep on changing. And that's awesome. and also just scary. Because it's nice to think of living under this illusion and these dreams that I have for myself will just come to be if I just stay the course. But there are storms. There are paths that change. Hearts change. But one thing I know is that if the same Spirit that rose Jesus from the dead dwells in my heart and in my life, something unimaginable can take place. For a God that does not bow to death is awesome and also wild and unbound. And this is the God we find in our first reading in Job, where God asks, "Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth?" There's this sense of awe and incomprehensible magnitude when we encounter this God, a God that creates. You don't meet anything with that kind of power and just walk away unaltered. And this is the kind of power, the kind of God that the disciples meet when they enter a storm with Jesus asleep at the helm. Although they don't really understand Jesus just yet, they get a taste of who Jesus is when he brings the chaos of the waters to stillness. When he restores life to a place and time that looked like it would have brought death. And these poor disciples, all they can say is, "Who is this guy?" as their boat finds its way safely to the other side. The promise here is that God will meet us in storms such as these, the storms that aim to set our hearts in fear and take our lives. The promise here is that whether open-hearted or hard-hearted, God will move us all and still the wind in the waves that threaten us and all of creation. And God brings us safely to the other side. Our past, our present, our future is wrapped up in God. Our very selves, our very identities take root in this rich soil that is Christ's dying and rising, and we are promised that same newness of life. As we meet these places where the boundaries of death and life blur, and we aren't sure if we can make it through, there will Christ be found. Exactly right there. And God will do something new in that place. And you will see, yes, indeed, you will see. You'll know where you're going because of where Christ has been. Amen.